to run a roughly similar analysis for the rail belt around Anchorage, so the numbers will get reborn. When Bruce and Cody were talking and they said, thanks, Paul, for coming, it was that Paul. It was Natural Capitalism's Paul Sheldon, who was over in Europe talking with folks in both Denmark and in Finland about these sorts of issues. Jeff, where are you? Jeff Hohensee and Toby were just in Chicago working with companies on how to implement sustainability in their businesses. And again, this is what we do. Last year we consulted with companies we reckon represented, 3% of US GDP. Some very big companies, but also a lot of little companies in communities around the country. Emily and I were in Manila. I was in Germany. I was just talking with Barbara, who's doing some work on the smart grid here. Siemens, the big German industrial company, when I was in Germany, announced a plan for a pan-European smart grid. Big wind off the coast of Denmark, off the coast of Germany, wave power off the coast of Scotland, photovoltaic all across North Africa, biomass across the south of Europe, distributed generation everywhere in Europe, all going into and out of smart houses, smart cars. This is what the Europeans are doing. If you go back to the first industrial revolution, when we created capitalism, and we created commerce using water power to make textiles and iron, who did that? What country? No, England. The first industrial revolution happened in England. Then we moved on to steam power and trains. England. And England ruled the world. Then oil was discovered. Where? Pennsylvania. And cars and electricity. Henry Ford, Thomas Edison. And the balance of world power began to shift. And the United States rose as an industrial power. And then we moved on to the space race, Sputnik. And the IT revolution gave us all these little gadgets that carry 3,000 songs. I really didn't know that I needed one of these.
Aren't you glad you have one?
Yeah, I am.
I'd like to see what happens if I try to take it away from you.
Rightly are they called crackberries. We innovated. And the United States became the world power, politically, economically, militarily. What's next?
Collapse.
If we want a dynamic, prosperous economy, we will innovate. And we will demand the kind of policy that allows small businesses to prosper. We have had the worst economic collapse since the Great Depression and the greatest federal bailout, here in my tax dollars, largely going to Wall Street. And Wall Street's very happy now, thank you very much. We now need to reframe capitalism as how do you support local community? How do you support local businesses? How do you drive innovation? By and large, big business does not innovate. It's the little businesses. This, I think, is now the job before us. And this is what I ask your help in. This is what natural capitalism does. We work with thought leaders around the world. That's why I'm going to Copenhagen. That's why I have been traveling the globe. I also teach, by the way. And I say to I have my students do their carbon footprint, and they all come in going, oh. I said, don't worry about it, I'm vastly worse than you are. Make your carbon footprint count. Yes. Yeah. Spend it carefully. Spend it carefully. Dana Meadows taught me that. So part of what we do is to educate the next generation of sustainability leaders. And I am so thrilled. I'm going to spend tomorrow with a couple of people who are here in this room from Colorado State University trying to build a curriculum for a sustainability executive education program.
Yeah, that is
And people say, but you teach at a different college. that's not what matters. And that's why we're here with the Alliance. This isn't a zero-sum game. Time is extraordinarily short. We're losing. We're losing every major ecosystem on the planet. We are losing to global warming. And life as we know it on the planet will be gone in the lifetime of children now on the planet if we don't act. And your children will come to you one day, if they haven't already. And they'll say, you were there then. You knew. What did you do? And they will either say, what were you thinking? Or they will say, thank you. You stepped up, you saved the planet. So that's what our two groups are trying to do together. And with that, I'm honored to turn it over to the Alliance.